Hello, I'm Alan Denman, author, filmmaker, and writing coach. Welcome to the hero's journey, bringing you thoughts, insights, and inspiration on the art of storytelling. So what is it? What is the hero's journey? In its simplest form, it's this. Someone is seduced or called to leave their familiar world and go on a journey. It is a journey from the known to the unknown. And in that process, they have various experiences which test them, and there is a growth. They become bigger, they become more fulfilled. Their life is expanded as a result of this journey. So where does this idea of the hero's journey come from? Well, one of my mentors is Joseph Campbell, a marvelous man, American writer and mythologist, who wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And what he saw is that many stories, both ancient and modern, follow a similar kind of template, if you like, this journey from the known to the unknown. So it really is a sort of archetypal story pattern, this. But he went on to say that life itself is a hero's journey. And this idea has always fascinated me, that we are, each of us, on our own hero's journey. And it's a journey from birth through development, teens, adulthood, and eventually to death. And this requires a kind of courage, really. And many of us want to stay put. And this is typical of hero's journey stories, is that the protagonist really doesn't want to leave their comfort zone, their familiar world, but something forces them, or they do actually choose, but more often not, they are forced out of their familiar world to go on a journey. This journey may be perilous, it may be difficult, hazardous, there may be enemies, shadow figures, and so forth. But through this journey, there is a growth, there is an evolution, and the hero or protagonist ends knowing more about life, understanding more, but living a bigger life. It's a more expanded life. And I think this is a wonderful story template, and I followed this in my own life. I've been on many hero's journeys myself, most notably when I left the UK to fly to Los Angeles and write and direct a feature film there. I am going definitely from the known to the unknown there. And I think also this is very useful for all writers, because how do you begin a story, or let's say more accurately, at what point does a story actually begin? You know, most stories begin with a setting and a character, usually the protagonist, the main character, in their familiar world, which could be present day, it could be medieval, it could be a time in the future, or even on another planet. But they begin in their familiar world. And then something happens. In the hero's journey story template, it is known as the call to adventure. So just think about that. Ask yourself, have you ever had a call to adventure? Because the call to adventure is quite unsettling as well, because you are faced with going from the known into the unknown. And this in itself can be very scary, because we don't like change. We want to stay put. We're exactly where we are. And so, this requires courage. And one of the things that might happen is that the hero or protagonist refuses the call. And I like to think of one of my favorite plays is Hamlet by Will Shakespeare. And I think of this as a story really all about the refusal of the call. He's had a call to adventure. You know, there's the ghost of his father, and it seems pretty certain that his father has been murdered. and he is then obliged to take revenge, but he can't make up his mind. So the whole of Hamlet really is about, will he or will he not take up arms and seek revenge for the murder of his father. So that's a little bit about the hero's journey, and I found this incredibly rich as a story model. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose there, and I've used it in my novels. In fact, I realised the more I wrote and the more I looked at my own stories, is that I realised that they are all about a character going on a journey. So this is sort of built into me. For whatever reason, the hero's journey for me is something innate that I understand instinctively and I've used to really guide me in my own writing. So, you can really think about this for yourself. When you're writing or about to write, what is your character's call to adventure and what form does it appear in? Is it somebody knocking on the door and saying, hey, do you want to travel the world with me? Or it could be romantic, hero's journey. Hey, do you want to come and get married? Or, hey, look, there's a new job, but it's way up north and, are you interested? It would mean you'd have to kind of give up, your life as it is now, but, it could be exciting. So, do you have a call to adventure in your story? Because it's important.